Walang makakahadlang, walang maiiwan, sama-samang lilipad sa pag-abot ng pangarap sa hamong kinakaharap, patuloy na aangat, sulong edukalidad. Ito ang Santo Domingo National High School Radio Eskwela, sumasahimpapawid sa KISS 108 FM, ang himpilan ng musika, balita at impormasyon.
Good morning, wonderful students of English 9. I welcome you all to a wonderful and new way of learning through radio. Today is the first episode of our school on the air in English. And I am your radio teacher at your service, Teacher Rhea from the English department. Before we start today's journey of learning, make sure you are in your most comfortable position as you listen to our broadcast. By the way, have you had your breakfast? It will be best if you do, so that you will be more alert and will understand clearly our lesson for today. Fill your stomach before we fill your mind. At this point, I'd like you to get your modules on English 9, Module 1, Lesson 2, Fighting Social Injustice. I repeat, it's Module 1, Lesson 2. Our lesson for today is about fighting social injustice. Do you have your modules with you now? All right. Are you ready for our lesson today? I bet you all are ready. So make sure you have your module, a pen, and a clean sheet of paper, and let's get started. Once again, good morning, dear students of English 9. It's a fine bad weather. Now, I'm your teacher on air, Teacher Rhea, and I will be with you today in our journey to learning. At the end of our lesson, you are expected to identify sound devices used in poetry and relate the text content to real-life social issues. Are you ready? Today, we will identify social issues and concerns that affect you and the people around you. You'll realize that some issues have always been there, but there have been new obstacles that will challenge you and will bring you to a test. But in the end, you will think of ways on how to face such serious concerns courageously, as well as help others to face their own circumstances too. At this point, I'd like you to open your modules on page 3. I'll repeat, open your modules on page 3. In there, you will find the poem The Man with the Hoe by Edwin Markham. You will find there the poem The Man with a Hoe by Edwin Markham. I'd like you to read it, understand it, and find out what circumstance is the persona faced. I'll repeat, I'd like you to read the poem The Man with a Hoe and find out what circumstance is the persona faced. I hope you will like the poem, and in order to test your understanding of it, answer the 5 questions under the Understanding the Text on pages 4 to 5. Understanding the Text on pages 4 to 5. And submit your answers on our class group chat if you're done with it. Here are the 5 questions under understanding the text for those who doesn't have their modules. Here are the 5 questions under understanding the text. Number 1. What group of workers is being described in the poem? I'll repeat. Number 1. What group of workers is being described in the poem? Number 2. To what animal is the man with a hoe compared? To what animal is the man with a hoe compared? Number 3. How does the poet describe him? How does the poet describe him? Number 4. What does the bent body of the man with the hoe signify? What does the bent body of the man with the hoe signify? And lastly, the question number 5. Who is responsible for the condition or state of the man with the hoe? Who is responsible for the condition or state of the man with the hoe? An American poet named Edwin Markham wrote the poem You Will Read. It talks about social issues about the exploited classes throughout the world, the poor. As students, you must be aware and learn about social issues that affect today's society. But what is a social issue? Social issue is a problem that influences many citizens within a society. Try to look around you. You'll see some of the most common issues and problems drawn up from the news items on social media, television, radio, and in newspapers, such as poverty, violence, discrimination, injustice, human rights violation, and others. Now, if you are fond of watching and reading news, I know you are all aware of the recent social issue that created a buzz in different social media platforms. The hashtag #StopAsianHate and other similar hashtags trended after videos and clips of our Asian brothers and sisters being brutally hurt and humiliated were shared on the internet. I know some of us may have aired our support and opinion about the issue as well. Now that we have understood the theme of the poem, let us analyze its structure and elements. Markham's The Man with the Hoe received worldwide fame, not only for its content, but also its structure. Did you try to count how many lines the poem has? Well, that's right. It has 49 lines, divided into 5 stanzas. For the poem's structure, he chose blank verse for flexibility and used several sound devices. When we say blank verse, it's a literary device where verses do not rhyme and is written in iambic pentameter. In poetry and prose, pentameter means that it has a consistent meter of 10 syllables in each line. I'll repeat, when we say blank verse, the verses do not rhyme and it has a consistent meter of 10 syllables in each line. Next is sound devices. Sound devices are special tools that poets use to create certain effects in the poem to deliver meaning through sound. There are 5 most common sound devices. These are repetition, alliteration, consonance, assonance, and rhyme. I repeat, the most the five most common sound devices are repetition, alliteration, consonance, assonance, and rhyme. Now, let's try to discuss them one by one. Repetition, from the name itself, is the repeating of a word, phrase, or sentence, and is common in both poetry and prose. Try to listen to this example. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. Have you noticed which word or phrase is being repeated from the given example? That's right, it's time. And that is an example of repetition. The second sound device on our list is alliteration. This is a sound device which repeats the consonant sounds at the beginning of a word. I'll repeat. This is a sound device which repeats the consonant sounds at the beginning of a word. For example, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. If you notice, the sound of the consonant P found at the beginning of each word is being repeated. Third is consonants. This refers to the repetitive sounds produced by the consonants within or at the end of a sentence or phrase. Once again, this is about the sounds of consonants, but this time, the sound of consonants within or at the end of a sentence or phrase. Examples: sent and went, barrow and sorrow, far and jar. The third sound device is assonance or vowel rhyme. It is the repetition of vowel sounds across a line. Example: go slow on the road. Go slow on the road. The sound of vowel O is repeated in the line. And lastly, we have rhyme. It's the repetition of similar sounding words occurring at the end of lines in poems or songs. Rhyme also brings rhythm or musicality to poems. Example: Shall I compare thee to a summer day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling beds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Did you notice the rhyming words? It's day and May, temperate and date. You have learned the 5 sound devices that are commonly used in poetry. Now, get your pen and a whole sheet of paper and start checking how much you've learned by answering practice task 1, looking at poetic sound devices. I'll repeat, we are going to answer practice task 1, looking at poetic sound devices. We are going to identify the poetic device used in the phrases or sentences found on the table on page 8. Turn your modules on page 8. Will it be repetition, assonance, consonance, alliteration, or rhyme? Prepare your paper and pen and listen carefully. Are you ready? Let's start with number 1. Bowed by the weight of centuries he leans. bowed by the weight of centuries he leans. The correct answer is assonance. If you notice the vowel rhyme in the sentence, the vowel E is repeated across the line. Number 2. What sound device is used in this phrase? The emptiness of ages in his face. The emptiness of ages in his face. The correct answer for number 2 is consonants. Did you get the correct answer? Show me a thumbs up on our group chat if you get the correct answer for the first 2 items. For number 3, here is the phrase, whose breath blew out the light within this brain. Whose breath blew out the light within this brain. The correct answer for number 3 is alliteration. The sound of consonant B is repeated. Breath, blew, brain. Now for number 4, listen carefully. Is this the dream he dreamed who shaped the suns? Is this the dream he dreamed who shaped the suns? Number 4's correct answer is, of course, repetition. The word repeated is dream. Now for our last item, here is our sentence. Who loosened and let down this brutal jaw? Whose was the hand that slanted back this brow? The correct answer for number 5 is rhyme. Did you get a good job in our short quiz? Congratulations for a job well done. Let's have another activity, but we will first have to really read a poem, The Man with the Hoe. For practice task 3 on page 9, I repeat, practice task 3 on page 9, I want you to relate the experience of the persona in the poem with a modern man's situation. On your module, you will find an infographic and informational text about Philippine Job Challenge. Study the graph and answer the questions that follow in complete sentence on a whole sheet of paper. For this activity, take your time and make sure to submit your answers on Wednesday during our retrieval and distribution of modules. To show how much you've learned in today's lesson, answer post-test A and B on another sheet of paper. Give it your best shot. I'll check and announce the top 10 on our next class. To further your understanding of the theme of the poem The Man with a Hoe, I'd like you to answer the assignment on page 12. Answer the assignment on page 12. On a short-sized bond paper, list down 3 of the greatest challenges that our country is facing today. Then, cite reasons why our government should do something about it immediately. Imagine that you are going to read your work in front of the president, so make sure to be precise with your reasons. Another day of fun-filled learning has ended. I hope you enjoy our lesson for today. See you all on Wednesday for our retrieval and distribution of modules. Also, do not forget to always check our class group chat for further announcements. This has been your radio teacher, Teacher Rhea, saying, to learn a new language is to have one more window from which to look at the world. Always remember, an English student learner lead, speak, achieve, and breaks all language barriers. Join me again on Monday for another episode of our School on the Air in English 9. Goodbye.